delay. So, or not delay for them, for the viewers. Okay. Hey, everybody. We're live. We finally made it. We finally made it.
Yes.
Okay, guys. This is real life. This is reality. This is what happens, when you try something new and you're stepping out of your comfort zones, and we're here and we're with you, and things happen. Sometimes the internet doesn't work. Sometimes the camera doesn't work. So, but we're here. We made it. So I think Pamela said yay. So I hope Pamela can hear us. I love that you guys have been chatting in the feed, and we've got some awesome guests here today too. We've got Melissa in the chat from the Pet Sustainability Coalition. Ralph and Pam from the magazine are in the chat room watching. And we also have Stacy from Pet Food Experts is in the room. So lots and lots of people tuning in to learn about our guests, our featured guests here. We've got Pennye and Julie from the Pennye, Julie from the Big Bad Woof in Washington, D.C. And this is this month's issue. This is our October issue with this adorable dog on it. My name is Candace Daniolo, the founder of Pet Boss Nation. I'm a former retailer and current doggy daycare owner, and I write regularly for Pets Plus magazine. This is an awesome magazine for those of you who haven't gone through it yet. I think everyone watching live is a fan of Pets Plus magazine, but if you're watching the replay, definitely check out the magazine. You can get a free subscription at petsplusmag.com. And if you want to check out Pet Boss Nation, you can go to petbossnation.com too. But that's enough. I'm not going to do any more intro because we want to dig in to these awesome ladies, these awesome pet bosses who have built this super successful, sustainable business. Okay, so I want to do a little intro of you guys here. This all started back in 2005 when you named the Big Bad Woof in honor of your 4 wolf hybrids.
That's correct.
What were their names?
Bodhi, Artemis, Tumo, and Elijah.
Yeah.
Wow. How do you wind up with wolf hybrids?
I used to do rescue work with them. And then we ended up with an accident and a couple of puppies, and they had von Willebrand syndrome. So we could not place them anywhere. We had to raise them. And they were amazing animals to live with. Absolutely.
Wow, yeah. So at the time,
there were 4 of them. They were all a family, and they would start howling at the same exact moment, and they would stop howling at the same exact moment. It was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
That does sound wild too, So were they they were the inspiration for the name? Were they also the inspiration for opening your business?
Well, yes. Artemis, who was a red wolf and Akita mix, had diabetes, and we had a terrible time getting her diabetes under control. And a light bulb went off because I was feeding her one of the very popular veterinary brands. And when you flip the label over, one of the first ingredients was corn. And I'm like, why are you giving a diabetic dog corn, which turns to sugar? Mm-hmm. And so that kind of started the evolution of really getting into raw, fresh foods and looking at how we were feeding our pets, where the products were coming from, and what we could do better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this was before.
And then you got your business, just, you knew you were going to go into business. And then now at this point, that you want to be also eco-friendly. You want to have an eco-friendly model, which means to be, you're going to source responsibly and you're going to operate sustainably. And at the time, that wasn't common back then. Was it not common just in the pet industry or really any retail business?
Well, I think we're really fortunate in that we live in a community that's very green and sustainably minded. So there was a lot of support in our own community, but quite frankly, when we went out and started to try and stock our store for the first time, people were like, you'll never be able to get products from the United States. You're not going to be able to do this. It's not going to happen.
And back then, there was no term for eco-friendly didn't exist. sustainable didn't exist, and green was barely a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
So none of these terms meant anything to anybody.
I mean,
going back 13 years.
Yeah,
I mean,
it wasn't
you
even
think-
like that long ago, really.
well, one
We
of our,
opened in 2005.
yeah,
No,
one
no,
of our,
no, I think it does. But I mean, you know, like when you think about how long you've been in business, yes. But if you think about in the 2000s, you would have thought, oh, well, maybe back then we would have been more conscious of this, but no.
Not really.
not really. And, you know, at that point, I think West Paw had been in business for maybe 2 years.
Mhm.
Planet Dog was still relatively new in terms of national reach.
Mhm.
So there really weren't very many companies that were focusing on how do we do people, planet, profits all at the same time.
Oh, that
Mhm.
was still a long way down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about how, just because, you know, again, that I'm not sure the viewer that's watching, they may not be as knowledgeable in the sustainability mission. So I'd love to hear what your opinion is, or if is there a difference between being green and being sustainable?
I think there absolutely is. I think green is used a lot, and now there's a lot of companies that say they are green, but when you start digging into their model, are they really living it? Are they walking the walk rather than just talking about it? And so when I think when you start looking at sustainability, you really have to look at starting from how are things sourced? Where's the sourcing come from? How are they raising the animals? And granted, our store is not filled with every product that's like this, but we really do try to focus on when we're giving credence on who gets space in the store. This is all the things that we start to look at to say, does this meet our qualifications to come in and be part of this sustainable family? So where does it come from? How are the animals treated? What kind of packaging are they using? Are they focusing on social justice issues? You know, all of these things come into play when you start thinking about how do we get our products? How are they used? Are they disposed of sustainably? One of the great new things that we've had come up is TerraCycle. And Julie's been really involved in looking at products that use TerraCycle.
So
What's that?
for those people who may not know what TerraCycle is a great company that takes products and they move them out of the waste stream and they make other things out of stuff that people throw away. So more and more pet food companies are beginning to partner with TetraCycle, so that, for example, TerraCycle. So, for example, you buy a bag of dog food, and instead of throwing the bag away, that bag can then be sent to TerraCycle, and they'll make all kinds of things out of it. So, in order to promote this and support this, we tell our customers that if the TerraCycle logo is on a particular item, bring back the used bags, you know, the little pouches for cat food. I'm amazed as to how much we fill up boxes that are like this big, like this, each month, and they go back to TerraCycle, and it's going out of the waste, so it's not in the waste stream. And customers are now really getting in the habit of bringing back their packaging to us, and we will recycle it for them.
And
So
that's
it's not,
Yeah, I love that because it's not the consumer has to be aware of it, of the TerraCycle.
right.
They have to be aware of it, and instead of telling them that, hey, you know, this would be good if you did this, because you know they're not. I mean, very few people, maybe in your community.
and we take it back and we do it for them.
I love that, and it brings them back into the store. It's another reason to bring them back in the store.
And we even pick it up from our delivery customers, believe it or not. They'll leave it out on their porch, and we pick them up and we bring them back for reshipment.
Is that something that anyone watching across the country can do, or is this a regional company for you that you work with?
No, TerraCycle, there's a few companies right now in the pet food industry that are using TerraCycle. Open Farm is one. Weruva is another. We just had a new product that's coming out in November called Chippies, which is it's a local company, believe it or not, but they're already hooked up with TerraCycle, and they're using cricket protein.
Yeah.
But you know, anybody can go on TerraCycle and some of the major companies in the United States are part of this. Colgate, a lot of big name companies do the TerraCycle.
Do you let your customers bring in their Colgate boxes? Can they bring anything?
I don't have an account with them.
You have to have an
send it
account
back.
set up in your store for the various items that you're sending back.
I see.
But you can also purchase bins to put in your store. So if you wanted to recycle
So
certain
it's
products,
a perfect
you could.
opportunity for somebody to go up to their local grocery store and say, "Hey, will you do this?"
Yeah,
We'll bring it
absolutely.
back. But it's a great program, and it's something that our customers love.
Yeah. So it sounds like you rattled off a lot of ways that, that would make up being a sustainable business. With the sourcing responsibly, I love what you said. The manufacturers, not only do they source it, but how are they disposing too? That's great. And in general, though, if we could run through a list of either the things that you guys do that would qualify you as operating sustainably.
Well, one thing is, years ago when we first opened, we carried a well-known training harness, and then we found a replacement harness that was made by a women-owned company, and so we switched to them because it was locally made in the United States, and it was a woman-owned company, and it fit in with our philosophy.
And they were putting women that were re-entering the work stream or getting off of welfare to work. So that was just another issue that was close to our hearts.
So they ship their package in clamshells. So when we sell the harness here, we'll ask the customer, "Do you want the clamshell?" And they say, "No, I'm going to throw it away." So we keep the clamshell. So when I do my reorders, I tell them, "Don't ship me the clamshells because I've got hundreds of them here already and I don't need it." So all of these clamshells are not going into the waste stream. We are reusing them, and our customer is not in the least bit bothered by not taking this piece of plastic
Because we
that
asked
they're going
them,
to throw in
"Do
the
you want
garbage.
this?"
If you want it, I'll give it to you, but if not, I'll reuse it. And they say, "Oh, just fine, reuse it."
Yeah. And so it cuts down on the packaging.
And
coming
after
in.
10 years, it's probably thousands and thousands of clamshells that have not gone into the waste stream. That's just one item, one company, one store.
Also, we have a shipping and delivery service. And so I don't buy boxes at all. We do not buy boxes. We reuse all of our incoming boxes that are being shipped. They get reused to go out on deliveries or to ship out to other people. And we put a nice card in there saying, we know we're reusing packaging, but it's our way of being a little bit more sustainable and helping green the planet. Please pass this on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just another very, very easy thing to do to help clean stuff up. Using green cleaning products, which should be a no-brainer for most pet stores because you don't want to be putting toxic things in the environment when you've got puppies coming in and cats. We have people that walk their cats here, believe it or not. So these are just things that day to day are part of our modus operandi, so to speak, and it works, and people appreciate it.
We actually have customers that bring back the same box for like months to buy.
You're like, "This is falling apart. We need to replace it."
I can replace that box. I can recycle that box. No, this is fine. I can still use it.
We just put it in the back of the car.
Yeah. Have you ever found that for maybe some stores who don't offer the maybe take the thing to reuse?
I think we hiccup there. Say that again.
I said, do you think that the distributors would be willing to take back boxes if a store doesn't do local delivery? And they could ask.
No, I doubt it. I kind of doubt it.
We had one distributor that took back the shrink wrapping that the pallets come in, and
that's substantial
an enormous amount of plastic that just goes into the waste stream.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where to recycle that, but they apparently had a place that they were recycled. So they would come every week and we would take the shrink wrap, not just from them, but from all of the other shipments that came in and create this huge
it was like 2 bags that were like as big as me. And they would take it and they would recycle it.
Yeah.
And that's a huge amount of plastic. You know, when you think that we're just one company, one small company, how much we pulled out of the waste stream to get a larger company to do this.
Or multiple stores,
It's
and that be
just
part of their
huge.
culture. That's an amazing
And
thing.
it's not costing us anything.
Yeah, it would make a really big impact.
Actually, it saves money in the bottom line. So that's the other misconception I think that we've heard over the years is that a lot of store owners will say, well, it costs too much. Actually, it saves you money. You know, it cuts down on your trash bills. It cuts down on a lot of things that builds goodwill, which you can't pay for in advertising and marketing.
Mhm.
So, you know, I that argument doesn't fly with me.
What other arguments or objections do you hear when you share your philosophies?
Well, we were told from
It's
the get-go.
easier, I think, now, but
When we first opened, we were told from the get-go that there's no way, because we both felt very strongly 13 years ago that we wanted to support USA Made, which is now a catchphrase.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to support USA Made. We wanted to support fair trade and minority companies. And we'd go to trade shows and they'd say, there's no way you can do this and make a living. You can't, and don't tell me I can't do something, because I will go ahead and do it.
I can tell that, Julie. You're like, you're only fueling my fire.
We'd go to a trade show and we'd say, okay, we're going to replace this China-made harness with something else. Or we're going to replace this with something else. And, you know, there are some things that you really, you know, these toys at like, you know, $5.99, they're going to come from China. I mean, period, the end. And that's fine. But I can offer a higher quality toy or a higher quality bed that is made in the United States.
it's going to last
And
longer.
it's going to last forever.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were told there's no way you can build a business by sourcing locally or minority made or USA made.
So I just want to show you something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those
Lift
are
it up.
cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's made in DC.
Oh, wow.
The buckles are made in the United States. The hardware is made in the United States, and the thread is made in the United States.
Wow. But what does it retail for?
$24.99.
Whoa, look at that.
It goes all the way through because this is a leather maker who decided that he loved making collars. He loves dogs.
Uh-huh.
And so he had to buy a machine to sink all of this through.
Are you willing to share that manufacturer's name with us, or is that going to be your secret? And
And I have to show you
I'll
this.
share
He
his.
also makes these amazing handbags.
cool.
And everything here is made in the United States.
Yeah,
And it's the same person. He's a DC
he's a
icon.
DC maker. His name's John Y. He doesn't have the production capacity to go very much bigger right now, but he's working on it. So we're test running his stuff, and I can't believe people just walk up and they go, I love this, and they buy it.
High quality. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, on the subject of just general sustainability, as I mentioned earlier, we've got Melissa in the chat from the Pet Sustainability Coalition, and I just wanted to mention them for retailers. They're dedicated to creating a more sustainable pet industry, and they help implement sustainability throughout the business practices, minimizing waste and maximizing profits. I like what you said there, Pennye, about people, planet, and profits. I think it was Pennye, maybe Julie, but I like that. And so what PSC has is on their website. If you go to petsustainabilitycoalition.com, they have tools and resources for you guys to look through. So definitely check them out. All right, now I want to get to this really cool space that you have. This is actually your third physical location, right? You had one store and then a second store, and then you merged everybody into this one.
We merged everything into a big space, yes.
Cool. Well, let's talk about that big spinning thing above you there.
Talking about, let's see if I can get a better shot of it. How's that?
I love it. Perfect.
We have two of these fans, and they're called big ass fans.
Yes.
Just like what they are, huh?
And actually,
They're probably 6 feet across.
they're 6 feet across. They actually only work in one direction. They're basically used in big spaces to help equalize the temperature throughout the space. So it's not really for cooling or heating. It's more to create the same, so you don't have pockets of weird hot or cold areas. And they work wonderfully well, and they help cut down on our air conditioning and our heating bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
And we have 100 solar panels on the roof.
Oh, wow. I don't think that was mentioned in the article. I don't think I realized that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we have 100 panels, which supplies us with
Probably about 25% of our electricity.
no, more than
30%.
that. I think it's 40%.
No, I don't think it's quite that high.
Yeah, but we have a lot of freezers, so we use a lot of energy in this space.
Yeah. Well, it's a very large space. How many square feet is it?
3,900 square feet, and we have a dedicated inventory area and shipping and delivery department.
I'm going to share my screen. I have the Pets Plus article up that I'll show you pictures of. Let me go find it now. Pull that down. Okay, here we go. Got some pictures of the store. So you guys can see that now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So your store is so cool looking. I'm going to flip through a couple here. I'm looking this little trail of animals. Was that, let me go back to, you guys see the trail of the Tuffy's animals going through? Was that just for the photos, or do you like to do that all the time?
No. That was our photographer. He came in. He's quite well known here in DC. He's an architectural photographer, and he basically put the animals out. They got on a ladder and they said, "Oh, wouldn't this be fun?" And they started lining the animals up to shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're great. It's great. So I love your use of the color and the industrial feel, and then these really cool props, the tubs and fixtures, and you've really done an amazing job kind of like intermingling all of the design elements. I love it.
Thank you. We're very proud of the store.
Beautiful. I love that red tub. And that red fire hydrant too out front. I had a red fire hydrant in the front of my first shop. They're hard to find.
They are indeed. That actually is a real New York City fire hydrant.
Oh yeah? Let's go back to it so you can see it.
So
Yep.
I'll tell you a funny story about the tub. A couple of years ago, the city of Tacoma Park wanted to do a fundraiser, and they were doing a calendar based on calendar girls.
Okay.
And I immediately volunteered to jump in the tub, pretty stripped down, for a photo shoot. And so I have a picture of me in the tub surrounded by toys. And
one of our
dogs looking on, and that
Oh
was
my gosh, I wish I had that photo to show.
so that was a lot of fun. That was a fundraiser.
I love it. Now, the freezers, you've already mentioned you go through, and we're going to talk about raw a little bit later, but I want to show everybody these. Look how many freezers they've got. Just this long stream of freezers. How many are there?
There's 10 there. There's another 3 doors behind this where this photo was taken, and a 8x10 walk-in in the back.
Wow. Yeah. So before we get to that, because I want to talk about all of the holistic things that you do and some other really unique things about your business. But let's talk more about the sustainability of the actual building and some of the honors that you've won, if they're honors or accolades or certifications, the building business.
I'm sorry, we lost you again for a minute.
Like that you are that you have obtained your B Corporate certification.
Yep.
So what does that exactly mean?
Well, when we started the Hyattsville store and we had to incorporate, that was the first time that a benefit corporation legal status was available in the United States. And so with that location, we were the first benefit corporation in the country to sign up for a B Corp status. So
what is a benefit corporation?
A benefit corporation is a legal corporate status, and they're in 25 to 30 states now that recognize benefit corporations. And basically, that is a corporation which puts some sort of sustainability in its corporate charter that they have to live up to, whether it's helping local economies or some other attribute. In DC, ours is particularly helping local economies. We try to help. One of our first things that we do when somebody is starting a local business is we look at that first in order to bring it into the store to help build the local economy, because I very much believe that money circulates locally before it goes out into nationwide status.
Mm-hmm.
B Corporation is the nonprofit that basically helped start the legislative process to develop and recognize benefit corporations as a legal entity. And so they are a auditing body for benefit corporations. They have a really good assessment that you can take and see where you fall on your sustainability standards, as well as Green America. Green America has been at it for a longer time, but they've got many more different, like manufacturing, retail, et cetera, to do auditing with. Mm-hmm. So we're audited through Green America now, not B Corp, but I did at the beginning work very closely with B Corp on our sustainability efforts.
Now, I'm assuming that there would be an investment, a significant investment to do that.
Yes.
Solar panels and the fans. Were you able to get any funding at all, or grants, or any assistance?
Well, our landlords actually put the solar panels in.
Oh, wow. Great.
And I believe that DC is a very, very green city. So I think that there's all sorts of tax breaks, aren't there?
Yeah, there's huge tax breaks.
Yeah.
We had mentioned this to our landlords when we first were in negotiations with the lease, and then one day they came to us and they said, "We're going to go ahead and do this."
Yeah.
And we were like, "Yeah, okay, great." And I have a picture of the panels. Actually, my leg wobbled too much. I couldn't get up on the roof climbing that little ladder, so I had one of the guys take a picture. And to see 100 panels, it's just amazing.
Yeah, and it's a flat roof, so it's perfect.
It's a flat roof.
It's perfect for it.
So that's pretty amazing.
And we've always purchased wind power at all of our locations, and we have solar panels at our home too. So this was kind of a no-brainer, but I'm glad that they did the expense of putting it in, because we would have had a hard time doing that just building out a new store.
Yeah. So you've mentioned that your area is really into wonderful causes and sustainability. And do you think, though, that while that, I guess, is happening naturally for your community, how have you been able to really make an impact, though, with your customers and move the needle even more? Like, what conversations do you have to have? I guess, like, what I'd love for you to explain to everybody is for me, for example, in my business, like, I do feel like in Chicago, because that's where my stores were, like, they didn't necessarily care as much if things were even American made, or they didn't really care. It was like they just wanted to get the cool thing and come in and have fun. So,
well, I'll talk about, for example, something really easy is dog beds. So the dog beds we carry are probably 2.5 times more in cost than what you would buy at a big box store. And so I would tell the customer, they say, well, this is like $99 and I can buy it at blah, blah for $25. And I'll say, yeah, you can, but how many times are you going to buy that bed? I said, you're going to buy that bed at least 2 times a year, and your dog is going to live for 8 or 9 years. So you're going to be buying that bed 2 times a year for the next 10 years. So that's going to come out to this much money. I said, if you buy this bed for $100 now, you're not buying another bed. I said, you may replace the cover for $20 or $30, but you still have the bed. And being gentle about it, people get it. They understand it. I compare it to buying cheap shoes. You buy cheap shoes, and they're going to last you for a half a season, and then you're going to replace them again. But if you buy the better quality shoes, they're going to last you for a much longer period of time. And in the end, it saves you money. And then I point out that this bed comes from, China, and these beds are made in the United States, and they're sustainable. And, then you go through the different qualities of the bed, and it's up to the customer.
Mm-hmm.
And most people just kind of like, you can see the light starting to go on, and then they'll come back and they'll say, you were right. I bought this bed and it's only lasted a month. So now I'll buy this bed. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell them, I've had the same bed since we opened up the store. And we've gone through, I don't know how many dogs in our household.
Yeah.
I've just replaced the covers. So, it's a matter of just talking to people. And it's a matter of talking to people about, online retailers, what that means to small businesses, how it impacts small businesses, how we need to be able to compete. Because if we leave, there's no one that's going to come in here. You can't call Amazon and say, by the way, my dog has itchy skin. What should I do? Mm-hmm. That's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're not going to have, I just think, is just reiterating what she's saying, it's not pushing yourself on someone, but our store in particular is a place where people come to solve problems. And so we have a lot of veterinarians that send people to us. I
have to say, I do get pushy. I do challenge people when they tell me, well, I can buy it online. And I'm like, yeah, I do challenge them.
But, the fact of the matter is that we're a store that helps people solve problems. And so we work in tandem with a lot of the local veterinarians. We actually have an event going on this Sunday where we have a homeopathic vet coming in to do a 3-hour seminar on well care. And so that's part of giving back into the community. But it's being in business for a while and gaining a reputation where if you call us, we've got staff on site who will work with every customer to try and help them figure out what's going to be the best thing. And it may not be the most profitable, but you know what? I don't really care about that. I care about helping that person because what we're going to gain is their loyalty. And you can't buy that. That's something that has to be earned. That respect has to be earned. Mm-hmm. And, Julie's right. You can't call Amazon and say, hey, I've got itchy skin. What am I going to do with my dog?
Don't worry. The drone will drop something off to you.
Well, it sounds like you're just saying like you want to have a conversation about it, an honest conversation. And instead of being emotional or opinionated and frustrated that your customers are wanting to buy it cheaper online, you educate them. They're just having a conversation.
Yeah. It's about talking to them and also about letting them know it's not just our industry. It's every retail industry is being affected by the internet. And there are ways that we can pivot and we can participate in that process. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is that online is never going to be able to do what we do in a store setting. Mm-hmm. And that's our strength.
Yeah. You have two unique things that I saw in the article that I'd love for you to tell us more about, because I really do think as well that people watching, retailers in their communities can implement these strategies as well. And I think that's also kind of offering another service that then the internet can't do here. And that is the Hungry Harvest and then your Woof pantries. So let's start with Hungry Harvest. Why don't you explain what it is? And then I'm just curious if you think that, again, retailers and other places can implement this and where they would find it.
Oh, sure.
Well,
absolutely.
This really fits in with our philosophy. I'm a gardener. I love to cook. And the amount of food that is wasted in this country is just mind-boggling. So Hungry Harvest started in Baltimore. And what they do is, if food is slightly not round enough or it's blemished or whatever, and retailers can't sell it, it would go into a compost bin or just get tossed. So Hungry Harvest takes this food and they put together boxes.
Yeah.
Once a week, you can sign up just like a CSA, and they'll send you a box of whatever they have, and it's really cool because I'll sign up for it, and sometimes I get stuff I have no idea what it is. So I look and I say, all right, well, how do I cook with this? What do I do with this? And, it led me to researching different recipes and stuff like that. We have we have one of the oldest farmers markets here in Tacoma Park.
In the DC area.
In the DC area. And it's very well supported by our customers and the residents here. So the Hungry Harvest box comes in on a Thursday. The farmers market is on Sunday. So by Thursday, by the end of the week, you're starting to run out of your stuff because you're not buying that much at the market. So it was perfect. And we have a core of customers that order Hungry Harvest boxes. They're delivered here, and they come into the store and they pick it up, and then they do their regular shopping.
Or they just pick up their Hungry Harvest box.
Or they just pick up their Hungry Harvest box. I don't care. But it's supporting, taking food that's not going to go into the waste stream. Hungry Harvest supports food kitchens in Baltimore, and also they do educational services for the Baltimore public schools revolving around eating and food. So it's all around really great, and it doesn't cost us anything. Mm-hmm. And we have people coming into the store to pick up their boxes.
Yeah, it's about being an experience, and you're also being, a part of the community and involved in people's lives and really making an impact. I love it. I want to come there and be your best friends.
Come on down, honey.
Because I'm like, I need to hang out with these ladies like in real life. I love it.
So, in talking about the Woof pantries, that kind of grew out of the idea of the CSA. When we started our delivery service, I started thinking about how we could partner with other businesses. And especially when we had to close our store in Hyattsville, we had developed a huge following. There really weren't any other pet supply stores in the area besides Unleashed. And so a lot of people were really upset that we were leaving the community. So I reached out to one of the local groomers there and I said, listen, if I delivery boxes of people's pet supplies for free to you, will you take them and it'll bring people into your shop? And would you be okay to go ahead and pick these things up? And they said, absolutely, we can do that. And then I reached out to some other of my partner businesses that we work with and talked to them. And that's kind of how the Woof Pantries got started.
How often do you go? Yeah, how often do you go and drop off boxes at these local businesses?
When people ask us to.
Okay.
So we do deliveries 5 days a week. And people can put down, they have a choice of having it delivered to their home or going to one of the Woof Pantries. Woof Pantries are free deliveries, and it's very much the same thing. People are very interested in going into other businesses, and market studies will show out that millennials especially, even though they're shopping online primarily, they want to go into businesses to help support them locally. So it's an odd conundrum, but it actually plays out. I've got people that I deliver to Woof Pantries literally a block and a half from their house.
Oh, wow.
And it's because they want to go into that business and do their pickup, and it gets them out for the day, et cetera. So a big focus of ours has been to expand our reach into other neighborhoods to be able to offer to drop people's stuff off. It's also really handy with people in cities, a lot of people don't drive. They're taking Uber or Lyft everywhere. So if it's close to their house, that makes it really convenient for them. So I think it's a win-win all the way around. And the Woof Pantries seem to like it because people are coming into their shops. They may be buying something, and our pantries aren't restricted to pet-related businesses. We have a brewery that's one of our partners. DC Brow. We have Logan Hardware, which is a hardware store. So when people go in, they can pick up stuff from the hardware store. So I think it's a win-win all the way around for us and for them.
And how do they place the orders on your website?
Yep. They
Because I know
place
that's a big question.
or they call.
They call. Okay. So I know that that's always, when people want to offer something like that, they love the idea, but then they're like, well, how am I going to actually process this?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just pick
We've
up the phone.
made a pretty significant expenditure into our POS system and our website integration over the past 2 to 3 years, because when we started the delivery service as an experiment, we started seeing that people were very receptive to it. And then I started realizing that we have a lot of customers who really need to have the access like this. They may not drive. They may be aging in place. They may be physically handicapped. Maybe a new mother who's just had a baby, or somebody who's just gone through surgery who overall may be healthy any other time, but they're going through a period of time when they're not as mobile. And so it really is a service to the community in many fronts that became something that we became aware of as we got into developing this business model.
Well, it's a smart investment. Point of sale systems and that tech side is an investment, but it's one of the best investments you can make. So, yeah, that's wonderful. Well, I would like to let everybody know, if you have any questions for our guests today, please type them in the chat. While we wait for that, they have some resources that they love, like business tips, tools, websites, books, some cool things that they use, and they're investing in themselves, right? I'm sure you invest in yourselves and your own education and thinking bigger. So what would you like to share with our audience?
Really? I don't.
There's a book, The Bearing Witness by Bernie Glassman.
Oh, Bernie Glassman. Yeah, I did a lot of that fill-in of those questions. I'm a Tibetan Buddhist, and so this book is just one of my favorite books. It's talking about observing what's happening around you and observing, being in a space where you're not constantly in motion, but you actually just kind of sit and look at what's happening in front of you and absorb it, and not have to be a positive or a negative influence, but just to be there to witness what's happening. And I think we do that a lot when we have loss in our lives. I think that it's particularly important for people that do rescue work, which I do whenever I get a chance, to not get caught up in the event or what's happened, that it's a hoarding situation or it's cruelty or whatever, but to just kind of be able to sit and absorb it and say, be neutral, kind of be neutral with it. So that's one of the reasons that I love the book, is that it's a reminder that we don't always have to be so caught up and so invested in our opinions that we forget that we just sometimes need to be a silent spectator and participate in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that one of the shows that I watch very regularly is it's either on MSNBC or CNN. I'm not sure which. MSNBC. It's on Saturday mornings, and it's called Minding Your Business.
Ah, great show.
And it is a great half an hour, or might be an hour show. And what I love about it is it covers. She interviews small business owners, and I've gotten really great advertising ideas. Listen to people going through really hard business decisions where they may have almost lost their business, and how they pulled back and how they recouped and how they moved forward. And then there's a lot of industry experts in, a whole range of things, marketing, whatever, human resources. And they give a lot of tidbits. And, I'll listen to it and I'll say, that is a really great idea. How can we bring it in here? So it's an entertaining and informative show. So I highly recommend. And, after listen to it once, and what was the name of that company that we got in touch with? The dog, the mud something. It was a dog company where they did internet events. And we called them, and it turned out that they were in the area, and, we got together with them. And anyway, minding your business is terrific.
Sounds awesome.
Great program to watch on the weekends.
And I think one of the best things that we did years ago was we hired a part-time HR person, which
yes, that's
talk about
brilliant. Yeah, well, I was going to ask you when you were talking about that book, Bearing Witness, and just being like mindful of like what's happening around you, or not even. And I thought, I wonder if that could work for employees. But then I was like, probably not. You probably still need to take action and like not like just be.
Great investment having an HR person.
Yeah,
because it just like takes everything off your plate.
And you don't have to have somebody who is working for you full time. We have a person who's an HR consultant that she handles our payroll, and she does all of our HR stuff and keeps up with all of the laws. And it's well worth the money that we spend for that, because, when you're running a business, you have to wear so many hats, and you really need to be in your store. What we found over the years is we need to, no matter how great our staff is, it's important for us to show up and be in the store. Customers that have been around for a long time love to see us puttering around, whether we're just running in from the back or whatever. And that takes a lot of pressure off. And it also helps provide an interface for our management team to be able to not come to us, but to go to her and be able to say, I need some advice on how to do this.
And it removes, because everybody brings their own baggage to the table.
Yeah.
And so you have a professional that is not tied into that baggage.
Yeah.
And they can say,
it's not emotionally attached.
Right, or no, you're crazy. You got to stop doing that.
Yeah, don't do that anymore.
At those moments,
that person needs to go.
Yeah. Okay, so Molly has a question. I love it. It's a great question because I actually had this question earlier and forgot to ask it. So thanks, Molly, for bringing it back up. She wants to know what types of shopping bags you offer. She's looked into biodegradable shopping bags in addition to paper bags and bag discounts.
Boxes.
Yeah. All those boxes you're using.
So our T-shirt bags that we give out contain 30% recycled content. They're from Nashville Wraps.
And let me tell you, they do fall apart. I had some in a cabinet that I forgot about, and like 6 months later, opened up this cabinet, and it was in tiny little pieces. Yeah. So it completely biodegraded.
So I'm now we're looking at a couple of things in terms of we get reusable bags from some of our vendors. They supply us pretty regularly, which is terrific because that gets to advertise their products that we carry in the store. We have done freezer bags that are reusable for people who are shopping for frozen bags, and we've actually gotten a lot of our frozen companies to put their logos on. So have a really nice big freezer bag that has different logos of some of our different raw food manufacturers. We are looking at right now through a company called Eco Enclosed. They do a 100% recycled shipping mailer, which is much like the ones you buy on Amazon, but it's made from 100% recycled material. And I'm looking at that for a new branded piece for the delivery service.
And it's pretty cool because if you put water on it, it disappears.
No, you're talking, that's not that.
Oh.
No, this is, and we've been using, here's a fun thing that we do. One of our partners is a veterinary practice, and so we pick up insulated coolers, styrofoam coolers from them that they get their cold shipments in. And we upcycle them back to our delivery customers. So we actually leave these styrofoam coolers at their residence, and they leave them out, and we pick up the bricks, put new bricks in, and put their cold stuff in it. So it's a way of them not throwing the stuff away. We reuse them for all of our customers, and we also ship with them. And we're looking at a new insulated material that I'm researching right now, but it's made from corn, and it's like a styrofoam box, but when you run water over it, it totally dissolves. So I'll keep you posted on that one. I'm still looking at it, but I actually saw a piece of it, and I saw it run underwater, and I was like, oh my God, that's great. Because, instead of having to ship an insulated styrofoam box that you're building to a shipping customer for raw food, this is a great way in which they can actually dispose of it safely and it be non-toxic in the environment.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's obvious how passionate you guys are about sustainability, and that you love the research, and you're super creative in the ways that you operate sustainably. I just, thank you for doing that, and thank you for being on here and sharing so many secrets. I know that those were years of you figuring things out and making things work, and you've just shared a lot with the community. So it's very generous of you.
Thank you. Well, I hope that other businesses can take away. I mean, look, we're all in this trying to do great in our communities, each one of us. Mm-hmm. And the more that we can fight off this huge behemoth that's approaching us and be able to be useful and contribute, the more your customers recognize it. I believe that. And I think that's what keeps us all going.
Those wise words of wisdom. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Joy and Pennye, and thank you to all of our viewers. And if you want to watch any previous episodes of Pets Plus Live Beyond the Pages, you can check them all out on Facebook as well as petsplusmag.com. And everyone have a wonderful rest of your day.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Candace. Thank you. Bye. Bye.